I want to say hello and good morning to our listeners from around the world. I want to welcome you to another edition of This Morning with Soulivity, broadcasting live from our studio right here in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and on our favorite radio station, KMET 1490 AM radio in Southern California. My name is Brian Westley Johnson, and I'm so glad you're here today. We've got a fantastic show for you. I'm joined today by my amazing co-host, Sheila Applegate today. Good morning, Sheila.
Good morning, Brian.
Oh, man, it's been so long.
It has, 4 days?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so it's like, the first question I have to ask you is, how was your weekend?
I had another great weekend. This time of year is just so busy with activity and fun.
Yeah.
One of the highlights is I went to a bar here, Wunderbar, and I saw a woman, Mary Nicholson, do a piano. It was a piano bar. She sang for 2 hours without taking a break, and she was amazing. And I've known her since she was a child. She was part of our Celebrate Today's Children camp and classes early on. So it was just amazing. She was amazing.
Wow. Oh, that's great. I mean, as a musician, I love live entertainment. So
yeah, it just feels so good. We were out on a patio on a beautiful night,
That's it.
Yeah, those are the times you just sort of want to be like, oh, okay, being alive is good.
Especially then there's something about being outside and listening to music. You can get up and dance if you want to, it's just that fresh air and that music just goes like jelly and jam or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah. How about you?
Well, this was one of those semi-working weekends. We hung out on Saturday out on the wharf for a little bit, which was a lot of fun. And then Sunday, I had to do some other things around the house, but it was a good weekend. I'd say it's a really good weekend, try to make those count. And so no complaints whatsoever. Listen, as I said before, we've got a really important topic today. But before we begin, I want to remind our listeners that, listen, you are part of this conversation. We want your questions, your thoughts, just post to our live feed, and we'll get you in on this conversation. A lot of times we even post your comment directly to our live feed so that other people can see, be a part of what you're saying, and then maybe they can be part of the discussion as well. I thought it would be great for today's topic if we would begin with this one video that I found that's amazing from Practical Psychology. So Sheila, why don't we start with that?
Sounds good.
Very powerful impact on our lives. They create opportunities and they lead us through the journey that we call life. Unfortunately, not all the beliefs you have will move you in a positive direction. There are many limiting beliefs that can inhibit a person's progress. These beliefs offer a limited view of what that person can do and how far they can go in life. If you let these limiting beliefs control your path, you will have a very hard time getting to the destination that you want and seeing the success that you can achieve. In order to break through these limiting beliefs, you have to understand what they are. Ask yourself throughout this video, how many times have you let a limiting belief like these hold you back? In the Psychology of Beliefs course that I just recently finished creating, I talk a little bit further about how these beliefs are formed and how you can break them and create more positive beliefs that will aid rather than inhibit your journey. But for now, let's just identify these beliefs. Number 1, X is a bad person. People do good things and bad things, but it would be very foolish to write off a person simply as completely bad or completely good. Even bad decisions may have good intentions. The next time you catch yourself labeling someone as a bad person, take a step back. What could have caused their bad decision? How can you step in their shoes and see things that influence their decision? Also, don't forget that this limiting belief goes both ways. Labeling someone as a perfect person is very dangerous. Everyone is human and everyone makes bad decisions. If you expect one person to become perfect, you may be setting some unrealistic expectations either for yourself or for others. Number 2, they can't do something because they're something. Let's stick to the idea of labels. Labels, whether it be labels relating to race or sex or occupation, can be very limiting. They put people in boxes and place expectations on them. The cool thing is, though, that people have defied expectations and broken through labels all throughout history. So don't let yourself be the person who everyone has to prove is wrong. Number 3, I can't. You don't have to justify the doubts that you have for yourself or someone else. Just saying you don't have the ability to do something is limiting. This belief can stop you from moving any further, or especially trying. Instead of accepting this limiting belief, you may have to redefine the thing that you can't do. Before the Wright brothers, humans couldn't fly. But the Wright brothers redefined the definition of what it meant to fly, and now millions of people fly through the air every day. Number 4, it's not up to me, so it's not worth the effort. In the Psychology of Beliefs program, we talk about the theory of learned helplessness. In short, this theory says that when people believe a situation is out of their control, they just stop trying to change it. They feel helpless even when they aren't. This is a horrible limiting belief that billions of people have. Number 5, they are X more than me. There are some things we cannot control. We cannot change someone's height, the awards that they have won, or the promotions that they have received at work. But we can control how we look at other people, their successes, and their traits. Do you find yourself often comparing yourself to others? We all do, but this is a seriously limiting belief. Everyone is different. Some people are born with red hair, and some people are born with a different type of intelligence. But just like you cannot label someone as entirely good or entirely bad, you also cannot label yourself as better or worse. It's not that cut and dry. Number 6, people will judge me. This fear holds so many people back from sharing themselves or trying to achieve a goal. They worry that people will judge them. They worry that people may say something negative or talk behind their back. While this fear is legitimate, it needs to be tackled in order to move forward with all of your might. Take some time to ask yourself why the opinions of others makes a difference to you. Is there a way that you can reshape this influence and use it as fuel to move past the fear? In my past experience with fear, the best cure to it seems to be any form of action. Number 7, if I'm vulnerable, I'll only get hurt. Setting goals for yourself requires some vulnerability. This limiting belief often keeps us from getting close to another person or even falling in love. But in reality, this fear of getting hurt can affect our performance at work, following creative pursuits, or working towards other goals. Number 8, I don't deserve this. Not all limiting beliefs are built by fear. Guilt can also create a lot of limiting beliefs. You may feel guilty about moving forward in your life because you feel that you have not worked for the things that you want, or that someone else deserves it more than you. You may look at people who are less fortunate or more limited than you. This belief is closely tied to beliefs that are built out of comparing yourself to others. Everyone is given a different journey in life, and they are more than capable of moving through that journey themselves. How can you focus on your journey and your journey alone? Number 9, I should be doing X instead. Our culture has given us a list of priorities that we should have and an ideal roadmap for our future. Sometimes, following your dreams requires breaking the mold and going against the things that society tells you to do. As you start to struggle, however, you might start to feel guilty for taking a different path. This will limit you because it creates stress and guilt that may inhibit your own progress. And lastly is number 10, I don't need this. Limiting beliefs don't always hold you back. Sometimes they keep you exactly where you are. You may look at growth as unnecessary, and you might not even think it. What would you do with that extra money or title anyways? You're not a greedy person. Well, this satisfaction may keep you content for a short period of time, but before long, you might find yourself with a different attitude. After all, us as humans are goal-pursuing machines. We need a goal and we need one often. We find happiness in pursuing goals. Think about what you want beyond the things that you have right now. Even things that seem impossible can be achieved by erasing this simple limiting belief.
Woo! So you guessed it. We are talking about limiting beliefs today. Sheila, this is one of those things I think we're going to have to come back to a lot. Because again, it's something that I don't think we talk enough about and bring awareness to. Because the stuff we tell ourselves is, it can be, we are harder on ourselves than anybody else can be.
We are, yeah. And I agree that talking about that this is so essential. In fact, I have this at the foundation of every course I teach because we can't go we
Yeah.
can't go further without looking, no matter what the topic is, and I call it upgrading your influential beliefs is how I address it. But really, we're looking at beliefs that may have helped us in the past,
Yeah.
may not
Yeah.
have, but now they don't serve us for where we
Mhm.
want to go. But the first step is always exploring, like, where do they come from, right? And
Right.
what beliefs do we have? And I think it's something that we
Mhm.
have to do, like you said, over and over and over again.
Absolutely. And we're going to be going through a few things. I think the first thing that we need to kind of talk about is what are limiting beliefs. I mean, this beautiful video from Practical Psychology gave us clues into examples of them, but just want to kind of set the stage for this overall conversation today. And there's this great article from betterup.com, this author, Maggie Wool, who talks about limiting beliefs and how to overcome them. And she describes a limiting belief as a thought or state of mind that you think is the absolute truth and stops you from doing certain things. These beliefs don't always have to be about yourself either. They could be about how the world works, ideas, and how you interact with people. So true, so true, so true. Sheila, in your practice, what do you tell your clients or people who are taking your courses about what are limiting beliefs?
So it's, we focus on whatever topic is the course about, but
Yeah.
because they're in every area of our life, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
I have people look at and write down the beliefs that come to mind that they
Mhm.
have regarding the topic. And then it usually, people will think of a belief that their head says, no, I don't believe that. But I tell them to write that down too, because it's still influencing us. Even if our
Right.
mind has shifted, if we haven't sort of upgraded it and replaced it with something supportive, then we tend to just default to it. So I have people explore all different things. And a lot of times it's in simple phrases that society says, like, money
Yeah.
doesn't grow on trees. I did that one in the joy finances, right? And everyone's like, what? But it literally is
Right.
trees, it's paper. And cotton, which is also a tree. So,
Right.
sometimes we have to just look at those things that are so basic, things, default phrases that we say to each other. And they're really based in limiting beliefs.
Absolutely. And we're going to be talking in the next segment about, where do these come from? But like you were saying, I mean, in part, they come from everywhere, right?
Yeah, they
A
really
lot of
do.
times they can come from our childhood, but we're going to run these down. This is such an important topic. I just want to remind people that, you know, our negative beliefs and limiting beliefs a lot of times are things that we depend upon to keep us safe and make us feel safe. Even if they're producing outcomes that are less than what we want. And the reason is because we can expect the outcomes. We already know internally what's going to happen. So if they're happening consistently, we know what to expect, and now we don't have anything to fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not something that if you really want to grow and you really want to mature and you really want to have a better life, you have to step out of, and move through fear. And so that means you have to come to grips with some of the beliefs and the belief system that you have about yourself and your world around you. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I'm going to be talking to Sheila more about like, where do these things come from? I mean, we kind of talked about like maybe they're coming from family a little bit, but there's some other places that typically we learn about how to install limiting beliefs about our lives. So we're going to take a break and we'll be back in about 30 seconds.
6 years ago when I started Soulivity, my vision was to support everyone in improving their life through the discovery of their passion and purpose, so they could become the best version of themselves, to battle fear and ignorance, and create a better world today. Get inspired to live your passion and purpose. Visit Soulivity.com now.
And we're back with more of This Morning with Soulivity. I'm here joined by my beautiful guest, Sheila Applegate. My name is Brian Johnson, and we are talking about overcoming limiting beliefs. And we just talked about what are limiting beliefs. But now we want to talk a little bit more, Sheila, about where do these things come from? Dum, dum, dum. Again, I know you do courses on different aspects of manifestation. And as you were saying, this is like one of the first things that you got to get through, right? I mean, to manifest, you have to believe that you can manifest, right?
Exactly. Well, yeah, that's a first start. Yeah.
What are some of the common themes that come up with people in terms of where their limiting beliefs come from? Is there like common themes amongst clients?
Well, there's common themes of things that I focus on, and therefore, we see them in each one of them. So finances, we have a lot of limiting beliefs about finances and how we're supposed to be good at them, what we're supposed to be doing. And that'll come from like you said, it's what your parents thought, it's what your neighbor thought, it's these, what you saw on TV when you were a child and currently, it's all over, and we're constantly being inundated with data. And from that data, we default into the beliefs that that we've digested. So we need to look at the different ones. And so relationships, how a relationship is supposed to be. Maybe we're modeling it on our parents. Maybe we're trying to do the opposite of our parents. And so we pick up opposite beliefs, but we haven't really had the chance to really claim them and dissect them.
Absolutely. Again, in this wonderful article that we found on betterup.com, they talk about the fact that more times than not, the beliefs that you have were other people's limiting belief, and they were passed on to you. Like you were saying, Sheila, like from family, from friends, things like if you had a grandparent that always dealt on the differences between rich people and everybody else, where because of their success, they're the epitome of what life should be about, and that you should be modeling yourself, and that if you're not that exact thing, then you're not good, or you're not being responsible, or you're not even being successful, right?
Right.
And so again, in the reality of things, we are all on our own individual journeys. We can support each other in them, but making comparisons between us and other people is not helpful, right, Sheila?
Right. Yeah. And we do it all the time, right?
Right. Exactly.
So we need to be conscious when we're doing it. But yeah, we want to make our own choices. I'm thinking as you were talking, I grew up with a dad who was an entrepreneur, and changed his job many times, went down different paths. And then I became an entrepreneur. My children, they saw both sides with their dad, who was in a field of work, that was regular salary, and then me. And right now in their path as early adults, they're siding way away from entrepreneurship and wanting that, I want a
That
paycheck. I want to
security.
know what's coming. Yeah. So it's going to be fun to watch them along their life as they find what is right for them,
Well, it's interesting you say that because like entrepreneurship in my family goes back like now for me I'm like fourth generation, right?
Right.
So both of my great grandfathers both had their own businesses.
You know what? Now you're saying that. Same with me. Or, well, no, I don't know about my great grandparents, but my
Yeah.
grandparents both did.
Well,
Yeah.
but you see what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
it's like, and on the other side, my parents both, they worked for a while, but then they also had their own business as well.
Right.
And so it's for me, you know, owning your own business and going through the challenges of owning your own business and all that is just part of my belief system, right?
Right.
But the one thing that I learned from them is, especially being an entrepreneur, you can never compare your journey as an entrepreneur to other people, and that your
Right.
goals are different than other goals. In fact, there was a great video that I'm going to talk about, as we get to more of the how do you overcome things, by Tyler Perry. And Tyler Perry, as everybody knows, is a great film producer, writer, actor. He just bought Black Entertainment Television, the network, cable news network, cable network, and
Yes.
that he had some things to say about this, in terms of like, um, when you're listening to the naysayers and you're in that, you're literally limiting yourself. You're putting them in front of what you want to do with your life, right?
Right.
Because you're listening to them, you're taking the time to listen to what they have to say, and a lot of times it's negative. A lot of times it's based in their limiting beliefs, and now their limiting belief becomes your limiting belief, because you're taking the time, you're stopping yourself, and moving away from where you're being led to go, to try to either have a debate, an argument, or just giving it energy, right?
Right. I also liked in the video you shared that when we judge others, we're actually
Yes,
reflecting our beliefs, and we're
absolutely.
limiting ourselves, because any judgment we put on others, we're most likely also putting on ourselves. And so that's a really good way to look at your beliefs that are not helping you.
Absolutely. As we come up to our next break, just want to kind of give some examples of some limiting of beliefs that weren't part of the video. One is like, this is for older people. I'm too old to go back to school. I've missed my chance to get my education, so why bother trying now? There are a lot of people who I know and have worked with that have gone back later in life to achieve even more greatness when they move beyond that. Especially
Yeah.
like school or education, or whatever it is. One of the more major people in recent times is J.K. Rowling, right? J.K. Rowling was in her late 40s when she was doing the first Harry Potter series, and she could not get anyone to publish it, so she published it herself.
Right, which she did
Right.
great with that.
And because she did that, all the success that she has, listen, y'all, Harry Potter is at Disney World. It has its own
Right.
section at Disney World and Land and the other places around the planet now.
I think she could maybe keep looking at her limiting beliefs, though.
Oh,
Because she
yes.
said some pretty cruel things about the trans community.
Yes, she
But
did. Yes, she
we will
did.
give
So
her credit for going
w
back and doing something new to
exactly.
her
So,
news.
JK, if you wanna come on with us, we'll help you out on that.
There we go.
Um, listen, we're gonna take another quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about, give you some tips first on how to identify your limiting beliefs if you don't know what they are. And then later on, we'll talk about how to overcome them. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with more of This Morning with Soulivity.
Hi there, Sheila Applegate here with some exciting news. I've joined the incredible Soulivity team as the host of the new Consciously Awesome live show, where I will be sharing insights to help you discover your full brilliance and claim the vibrant life you deserve. So tune in every Wednesday right here on Soulivity TV to join the fun, and remember to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss a single episode. Have an awesome week, and I will see you on Wednesday.
Yeah, coming up tomorrow, you're going to be talking about finding your financial flow. Another
There we
fantastic
go. And
show.
we'll be looking
Yeah,
a little bit
exactly, right?
beliefs
You
in there,
know,
right?
beliefs in there. Get them beliefs going. We are talking about overcoming limiting beliefs today. Such an important topic. It is like, it is part of like the awareness step. Gather, hazard a guess, as they say over across the pond. In terms of becoming aware of how you want to be. And so one of the next steps is, how do you identify these things? And again, this great article that we found in betterup.com, written by Maggie Wool, talks about that one of the first steps is reflect on your behavior. Evaluating your behavior can help can help show you what causes your limiting beliefs. Think back to when someone hurt your feelings and you needed to speak up for yourself. What was your reaction? Did you speak up, or did you walk away from the situation without letting the person know how you feel? Situations like this can show you that you might have a limiting belief that you should avoid conflict at all costs, but that negatively impacts your relationships. So that's one.
Yeah.
Sheila, how do you go about this with? 'Cause, I mean, you are our manifestation life coach.
Yeah.
And
So,
and
yeah, go ahead.
yeah.
So I have people, like I said, sit down. First of all, it's something you want to keep in the back of your head as you go throughout your day. But if you're doing it as an exercise, sit down and write down all your beliefs. And let's even
Mhm.
not say limiting when you first. Let's
Yeah,
not limit them to limiting
exactly.
beliefs,
Yes,
because
yes.
until you get down all your beliefs, and then after you get down all your beliefs, I help you walk through getting down your subtle beliefs that are underneath it, because sometimes
Mhm.
there's these beliefs underneath the bigger belief that you don't even realize you have that's supporting it. So you kind of really dissect all of that with what the beliefs are. Then we go back and look at if they're limiting, if they're
Right.
supporting us. And a lot of times limiting beliefs are supporting us in some way. So we have to
Mhm, mhm.
identify what we're getting out of it and if that's still something we want to get out of it. So,
Right.
you really want to dive into it once you take that journey.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, I remember there was this exercise that my parents taught me about your belief systems. And they would always say, again, like you said, you got to bring it into the physical world so that you can actually challenge it, right? Through some rigor.
Mhm.
Um,
Right.
because at the end of the day, you get to decide what you want to believe or not. And that what you're doing is that by identifying them through a process like you just described, Sheila, you're bringing them into the physical world, and then you're creating through a process, and asking the question, is this how I want to live? Right.
Right. And then
Is this
looking
how?
at the, go ahead.
No, go ahead. And then looking at I know you got something good here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, then looking at what you want to believe instead. And
Right.
sometimes, and then I say you claim that as your next belief, but sometimes that's too far out. Like you might think, oh, I want to believe that money is limitless, right?
Right.
But you don't quite believe it yet, even though you're going to upgrade to
Correct.
money is always available. It does grow on trees, whatever it is.
Right.
Then I just say, take an in-between belief that will bridge you to the belief that you want to move towards, which would be, I'm willing to believe that money is flowing effortlessly or something
Absolutely.
like that.
Yeah,
And
you don't
then
have
you
to.
have
Yeah,
that
you don't have to
bridge.
jump off the cliff.
Right. Because
which is
it's
again
not
something.
real, like you
Yeah,
said. Yeah.
no, exactly. It's got to be there. There was this old there's a book that was written a while ago, and they talk about like prayer, and it's so useful in our beliefs and manifesting the life that we want, where it's like you can write down the belief, and it could even be a good belief, right? Intellectually, you go like, oh yeah, that's exactly how I want to feel. But until the statement energetically is embodied in you as a deep feeling, not an emotion, feeling.
Right.
It's the feeling plus the belief, the written down belief. When those two come together, which is the rocket fuel to push you into manifesting what you want.
Absolutely. Yeah. There has to be a resonance energetically, emotionally, and verbally. Yeah.
Exactly. So I love the fact that you're talking about it this way, Sheila, because you're taking people through the process of getting those pieces together. And so the first step is the intellectual kind of part, right? Which is just identifying all your beliefs, categorizing them as in one way or another. Is this help? All of them are helpful, and typically,
Right.
and typically the helpful part in terms of limiting beliefs is they're protecting you from harm. Because guess what the first thing our parents teach us? Typically, be safe, right? Be safe.
Don't touch the stove.
Don't touch the stove.
See, there's
don't
a real
talk to
belief we
strangers.
had to upgrade, or we wouldn't be cooking today, right?
Exactly. And even now with some of the newer stoves, you can touch the stove and it won't burn you, right? So
There
like
you go. Yeah.
the magnetic ones or whatever.
Oh, wow. I hadn't
Convection,
realized that.
conduction,
Yeah.
conduction of it, like stuff. But don't talk to strangers, right? But as you get older, you have to talk to strangers.
Exactly. Yeah. And those, we're playing on some simple ones that are funny, but we do have to pay attention because they are, a belief can be a wonderful belief and it still will need to be upgraded.
I mean, the one that I remember, we're all God's children. My grandmother would say that all the time. And that, one other thing was like hating. Like I remember my parents would like, you never hate a person. You hate behavior, but you don't hate that person because everybody has their own journey. And I'm like, and so that stuck with me. I was like, yeah, I don't want to hate anybody.
Right. But that doesn't mean you can hate their behavior and you can make your choices based on their behavior.
Exactly.
So you're still safe because there's that safety, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Wow, this is really good stuff. I'm glad we're doing this. Again, this is so important. Our beliefs are the cornerstone of everything that we do. And that if we don't talk about them and we don't have some type of process to, kind of do a check-in, is this kind of working for me? Are these beliefs still working? Or, you'll just get caught up in just kind of sleepwalking to a certain degree. Like, okay, well,
Right.
I'm just kind of walking along and that kind of deal. And I would love to have manifest this thing over here, but then the beliefs start kicking in, and you don't even realize that
Right.
you're limiting yourself. So, anywho, we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll talk about, well, what's the next step? So we talked about identifying them, and so how do we overcome them? How do we overcome some of the limiting things, or just improve on our lives and create what my folks would always say is a new normal, which is, I love that
Mm,
statement. So we're going to
yeah.
take a break, and we'll be back with more of This Morning with Soulivity.
Are you ready to take that first step towards true, unwavering inner happiness? Are you like thousands of people who have everything they need, not want, but need, and still can't seem to find happiness and fulfillment in their lives? If so, the Steps to Happiness show is for you. On my show, you will learn about the principles and practices that lead to true inner happiness. Because guess what? It isn't found in our external environment, but within ourselves instead. Together with my guests, we will explore the latest physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being practices. And together, we'll advise you on the actionable steps you can take towards a happier, more fulfilled, authentic life. So I invite you to join me each week on Soulivity TV on the Steps to Happiness show with me, Teresa Greco.
Yeah, check out Teresa on Thursday. She's got another great show coming up on, and I know that you will enjoy it. I think it's transforming fear into happiness. I think that's the
Yeah.
theme. So it's kind of funny how we're picking all these topics, and they're kind of like
Right.
gelling in with our shows.
His beliefs are in everything, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So, so we talked about how to identify these limiting beliefs. Now, how do you overcome them? Right? How do you
Right.
move to the next step? And so, Sheila, I know you've got some thoughts about this.
Yeah, that's where, I kind of touched on it, but it's where we've dissected them and we've decided which ones we want to upgrade, because we can't upgrade all our beliefs at once. So pick just a
Well,
few to
yeah.
begin with, the ones that are really on your mind, and start practicing. Once you get the pattern down, you'll start doing it in your life all the time. But once you've found a few that you're like, okay, I know these beliefs are just not right for me anymore. And then
Mhm.
you look at what you want to believe. And again, maybe it's something you want to believe in the midterm, in the way through it. But in after that, you're going to maybe upgrade it again. And so now you put it into your life, and you start telling yourself that every time you notice yourself going to that default, reframe it and then claim it. And I think, another way that people like to do that is to kind of make a mantra out of it that you
Mhm.
repeat, or, sticky notes on your mirror is always great, or, reminders on your phone to just reprogram yourself in that way.
Absolutely. And one thing, and Sheila, oh, this is so good. I'm remembering something that has happened over my lifetime once I started this process, right? It is exactly what you just said, where you're starting to feel that energetic positivity kind of emerging from your heart, which is already there, by the way. That's one thing that I want
Mhm.
everybody to know, that energy of having more positive, practical, progressive beliefs about yourself and your world around you, it's already there. You're just uncovering it, right? You're kind of moving like dirt to the side and rediscovering what was already there and part of yourself. And once you do that, see, did you ever notice that once you started doing that, the other beliefs that were not like serving you, those got easier to kind of push and kind of learn about, and
Mhm.
you know
Yeah, because now you know the technique and you start to do it almost naturally,
Right,
right?
exactly. Exactly,
And
right?
you learn from it, and they'll show up because you're ready. You're not as scared.
Mhm.
You don't feel like you need so much protection.
Absolutely. These are things I love the fact that saying mantras while you're looking at yourself in the mirror is something that's
Mhm.
so powerful to do. That you're
Yeah.
giving yourself that energy, that love. Um, I mean, I've done it myself. I've cried while I'm looking at myself in the mirror doing this because you're able to let go of the pain
Mhm.
that is typically associated with beliefs that keep you from moving forward, that are about like fear and protection and that kind of thing, that served you probably when you were young, right? They had a
Mhm.
purpose, but we weren't supposed to live our lives from that perspective. We were supposed to mature and grow out of them, but nobody ever told us to. Nobody ever gave us that hint. It was just assumed that, well, you're an adult now, so drop that stuff. It's like we never
Well,
do.
right. A lot of times people don't, and we even pick up beliefs in our adulthood
Mhm.
about what it is to be an adult with those same fear
Absolutely.
beliefs. Yeah.
Because we
That's so
especially in Western societies, we
Mhm.
elevate materialism, right? We
Right.
elevate people gathering and gathering resources like money and property and other things. That's what we celebrate. That's who we elevate. Like if you have a whole bunch of properties
Mhm.
or you own some houses or you have a whole bunch of money, we elevate those people as being smarter, better, all that kind of thing. And as we have seen, that is not necessary. That's true. Some of those people are very intelligent, very smart, and that kind of thing, but they can be very ignorant in other ways.
Mhm. Yeah.
Especially like we just talked about, Miss Rowling and being, I would say, ignorant and that kind of thing around sexual orientation
Mhm.
and people being who they are, right,
Right.
in their
Right.
fullness. And so there's work that we all need to do, especially in terms of like that kind of elevation, because money ain't everything, y'all. It's a tool.
Right.
It's a tool. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It is not a
And
determinant
I
of
do
happiness. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that another thing that is one of my foundations that I always like to include is imagination, right? Because we're talking about our head right now.
Yes. Yes.
These are cognitive decisions we're making to change our
Hmm.
beliefs, but we talked about how it's more than cognitive, it's emotional, it's
Right.
vibrational. And so in order to let the new beliefs in, have to open that gateway to our imagination, whether it's in meditation or daydreaming, in order to let the new beliefs in and imagine what our life could be like with these new beliefs.
Absolutely.
Because that is so essential to opening the gateway.
Absolutely. You just did a show on imagination, didn't you?
I do. Yeah, we're hitting all of my we gotta get these down to go deeper. This is the foundation of all that I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, um, and just want to let people know this too. I think this is important, that you do not have to do this work alone. That
Mhm.
if you're coming up into roadblocks and you're finding real difficulty in moving past some things that are kind of scary for you, because this can be scary, right? Get some
Right.
support. Talk to someone like Sheila or like Teresa or other coaches or psychotherapists around the planet that are specifically trained in helping you connect with that part of yourself in a safe space so that you can move forward in understanding what your beliefs are.
Yeah.
Because again, this is also part of your mental health. I mean, Sheila, I mean, this is
Right. This
I think a
is,
lot of people
yeah.
forget that. This isn't just some fluff. I mean,
Right. And there's a belief that that belief I have to do it alone. I shouldn't get help. I should be able to do this
yep.
just with these videos or this podcast. That those are limiting beliefs, right? Like, some people have dedicated their lives to learning this so they can help other people. And why not get that expert advice? And let's add Dr. Chanel to the list
Absolutely.
too.
Dr. Chanel. Ooh, she's so good. And
She-
both you and Dr. Chanel are basically almost like giving away like the first session, right? I mean, so get that
yeah,
support. Even if you've been doing this a while, it can help. There might be some
right.
things that that you're not even thinking about, that can come into play, and you're like, wow, I never knew that. I never knew that about myself. Because again, a lot of this stuff gets programmed into us in subtle ways, either as children or as adults, and you just kind of pick it up and you go, oh, okay, that makes sense, and you plug it into your computer. So
Absolutely.
listen, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have some final thoughts from both me and Sheila on limiting beliefs. So we'll be back in about 60 seconds.
Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? Regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame. Living your passion, feeling your life has purpose. Soulivity is a space to nurture that which lives in all of us. A place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.
And we'll do some final thoughts. Sheila?
I guess I just want to say, like, today is a perfect day to check out your beliefs, to take some time, set aside a half hour and just think about what beliefs are limiting you at this point, whether you're starting your journey to overcoming limiting beliefs or you've been on it. Why not just use this as a reminder to sit down and to begin that process or extend it, because this will change your life in ways that you won't even believe until you do.
Love it, love it, love it. I'm going to use some final thoughts from that article that we just talked about. And it says, the limiting beliefs you have now don't have to stick with you forever. As we change, our beliefs do too. Nobody said it would be easy, but it will be well worth it when you look back and see how much you've grown. Understanding where limiting beliefs come from to identify your own, and overcoming them will take time and energy. Now that you know what your limiting beliefs are, it's time to face them head on. Finding that energy to empower yourself won't come out of thin air. So I highly recommend that you do it. So great.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Woo. Time for some Soulivity shameless plugs. We need some like music for that. Like wah wah wah. First and foremost, we can talk about this fantastic book that you've got, that you're part of, Sheila.
Yeah. So the Energy Healers Oracle, Tools for Total Transformation, is a book that is a combination of 20 master healers from around the world, each of us putting in our modality that we use, a technique. And so Zach and I have a chapter in that about our fractal illumination. It's a fun book, and it will also open your mind and give you lots of tools to transform your life.
Wow, sweet. And you can scan the QRC code that's on our screen right now, and it will take you right to that book. So you can go ahead and buy it today.
Yeah.
And then you've got, of course, your wonderful soul connection sessions.
Right. So the Soul Connection sessions, as you've heard, if you've been listening before, they're unique and designed just for you. And we can draw from any one of my skills and gifts that I offer. But I'm thinking if you were listening today and you do want to take a time to have a session on really diving deep and upgrading your beliefs, give me a shout out and use the code SOUL23 to get $44 off of your first session.
Woo-hoo. Love it, love it, love it. We have another quick one that the new Soulivity.com is coming your way on July 6th.
That is so soon.
I know. It's like, oh my God. I'm like cringing right now. But I can't wait for you guys to see it. There's even more great information. It's going to be easier to navigate. It includes a new mobile site as well, and upcoming apps, both for iOS and for Android. And so we're really excited about this. This is just a way that we're expanding and growing and creating ways to serve you, our community, better. So mark your calendar, July 6th, new Soulivity.com. We'll have some promos out talking about it as well. So with that, wow, this is a great show, Sheila.
Yeah,
it
was a fun way to start the day.
Absolutely. I mean, I cannot stress more about our belief systems have to do with that whole be do have paradigm shift, where you're doing this work shifts you into defining what that being state means for you, right? And that you're actually conscious of it more and more and more and more, so that you can, get drawn into what you need to do and then have the life that you want to have. So thank you for being part of this process, Sheila.
You're welcome. I'm picturing all these people driving to work, listening, and how amazing their day is going to be as they go through the day and notice their beliefs and
exactly. In fact, if there's things that occur to you as you're listening any of our shows, just give us an email at soulivity@soulivity.com. And because we love to hear about what your experiences are. And if you have a suggestion about a topic, do that too. Wow, it's parting is such sweet sorrow. We've got to go. We've got to wrap up. Listen, everybody, this is how we do it Monday through Friday right here on Soulivity.com. Please follow us on social media and join our mailing list by visiting the This Morning with Soulivity site today at soulivity.com/this morning. And on behalf of all of us, I want to say thank you for joining us again for this episode on limiting beliefs. We hope that you come back and join us every weekday at 8 a.m. Eastern for our live broadcast, or listen Thursdays and Fridays on KMET 1490 AM at 9 a.m. Pacific for all of you out on the West Coast. So until next time, keep on having real conversations with passion and purpose and create your best life today. We'll see you next time. Bye.
This work is subject to copyright owned by Affinity Global LLC. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this is expressly prohibited unless Affinity Global LLC has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.